Yeah, I definitely pictured it when I first started boxing. I've been good, just back in the gym, getting better and getting ready for my next fight. So everything, it feels good. Nothing's really changed too much. It's just like, yeah, I'm just like doing what I've been doing and just like with the same goal in mind, just keep improving every day and just keep working toward that goal. Right now, I'm still like, I'm going from 3 to 4 rounders. So we're not making like a change to fight longer, but we're still changing up the style with like placing your punches, getting like punching with more power, trying to become a bit more effective with my boxing. And also, I mean, I've always been doing this, but I'm trying to like tune up the basics, really get my fundamentals right. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So usually we like to start from the beginning, but I know you have your belt right
Yeah.
next to you if you want to grab it.
Yeah.
Tell us about that moment when your name was announced as the winner of the elite match for the Green Belt Challenge.
That felt real good. This was something I've like been wanting to win, like maybe like 5 months since I started boxing, because that's when I found out they made WBC amateur champions, and that was like a goal I've had since I started. So it felt real good.
It was a very close fight.
Yeah.
With a great elite fighter, Sammy. The crowd was going crazy. So just you being named as the elite champion must have been an amazing feeling.
Yeah, it was. It definitely feels good to win after all the hard work in the gym, and then also a tough fight like that, back and forth, really digging deep to get the most out of myself.
So tell us about the moment you fell in love with the sport of boxing, your first time in the boxing gym or later?
It kind of like, it sparked before I got in the gym. When I was in middle school, I watched Rocky. I would go around the house shadow boxing. I watched an anime in high school. I was starting to really get into it. I just didn't really know how to start boxing. So I started watching YouTube videos. From there, I found Shane Faison on Fight Tips. I would watch his videos and practice. And eventually I found Sweet Science, which is a gym that he went to. I saw that it's pretty close to my house, so I went there and I was like, this is it. They train fighters. I want to get some amateur fights in. I wasn't really thinking too much of turning pro yet. That took about maybe 6 to 8 months. After I won my first tournament, I was like, I want to go as far as I can with this. I really like this, and yeah.
How old were you when you started boxing?
I was 17, just turned 17.
So you started a little bit later, but you got to you went to some national tournaments, right?
The last national tournament I fought in, I got second place. I got second place at the previous one I fought at before that. Another one, I won the first day by TKO, but that during that fight, I dislocated, or like, it was like a hairline, it was like a fracture / dislocated in the clavicle or collarbone. So that happened during the fight. I wake up the next morning, I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to fight. I weighed in, I told the doctor about it, and then she's like, yeah, you can't fight, and then I got a disqualification.
That's terrible.
Yeah, how did that feel?
I was actually really bummed out. I teared up a little bit after, because like, you spend all this money, you do all this preparation, and then you have like that goal of becoming #1 in the country, Team USA, all that, and then that happens, and it's just like, dang.
Did you feel it? Did you feel the moment when
during the fight, like, it felt like it was on fire. Like, it hurt, but it wasn't like I was still able to use it. It was just like, it hurt while I was using it, but then after the fight, I was like, I can't even lift this up. It's like, it hurts so bad. I was out for, I think, a month and a half, I knew I still wanted to stay amateur because at that time I hadn't even been ranked in the country, and I wanted to be a national champion, and I felt like there was still a lot more room for me to improve and still a lot more amateur experience for me to get. So my team and I both decided it's better to just stay amateur a little longer and just turn pro when it feels right.
To ignore pain or ignore emotional problems, family problems, anything else going on in the world, to be able to be in the ring and win.
Yeah, I definitely think it is a special mindset. I also think it's something anyone can attain if they really put their mind to it, because I wasn't the same as I was like before I started boxing. It took me a little time to mature mentally and to actually like become stronger mentally, not only like physically in shape, but like to not worry about fights coming up and not really stress so much and just enjoy the moment of it. So it took a little bit of time for me to get that.
Being intelligent in the ring, because
Yeah.
boxing seems to be just a sport of, hitting and just going crazy there, but you got to be smart.
Yeah,
right?
you gotta know what you're doing in there. You have to be aware of what your opponent's doing, and then you have to be aware of what you're doing and have a reason behind every little move you're making.
Yeah, because it's not just throwing punches.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like you asked the other day, I don't know if you can like sort of predict when a punch is coming, or
Yeah.
or
Like in slow motion, right?
like in slow motion.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can, once you get a feel for how they move, you have a real good idea of what they're gonna do. And I think that comes with like a sense of like experience, like knowing what they can hit you with, like depending on like what spot you're in, like positioning and distance, and then also like a sense of rhythm,
Right.
like catching on to their rhythm.
Yeah.
Like the timing, right?
Yeah, rhythm and timing. But then if you want to, like, you could break it down and you could change up your rhythm and timing to throw off your opponent. They'll get used to this rhythm, and then you change it up, your rhythm of like punching and stuff, and it'll throw them off.
How much boxing is mental and physical? What do you think?
I mean, you definitely have to be in shape, like in good physical shape to perform at the top level. But I think what will make the difference of the like guys at that top level really is mental, like the way you prepare, the decisions you make while you're in the ring, that's all like mental, fast, and then also how you handle that big moment, if you can stay calm under it, and yeah, obviously like being able to endure mentally. So I think it's you definitely can't like discard the physical part of it, but it really is like mental.
A mental sport.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does it feel fighting first with gear, with bigger gloves, and then professional, no headgear, smaller gloves? And I don't know if you feel vulnerable.
You feel a lot more open. You can see a lot better. It's a little faster, but yeah, I mean, you could feel the gloves a little more. I only have one fight and it lasted 2 rounds, so I didn't really get hit that much to really see the difference. But it was different, but not like so much different but that I only fought 2 rounds, so I need to get a little more experience to get a better feel for it. But it didn't really feel like that big of a difference.
Yeah.
Tell us about that moment, your first walkout, your fans, your family, your friends, and the punch. Did you get punched?
I got punched, but it kind of felt like I just got hit, and it was just that, like not really different from getting hit in sparring. It could have been adrenaline or something, but yeah, like walking out, I didn't know how it would feel because I know it's a lot more dramatic, the music. I didn't really think too much about it, but in the moment, it was really cool. It was a really cool feeling. I was confident. I was just ready to go. And then when the bell rang, I did my thing, and then I knocked him down and everyone went crazy. So it was a really cool experience. It was a lot different than the amateurs, like the tournaments, because the tournaments, it's like, especially national tournaments, you got like 3 or 4 other rings. So it's only really, I mean, you'll have other spectators, but it's mainly like your family and stuff watching. So this is like all eyes on you. Everyone's like watching you. Like you hit someone, people go crazy. So it was really cool.
Yeah. I don't know, in amateurs, how much does a lose bother you?
As an amateur, I mean, it doesn't really mean that much. Your record doesn't really mean that much. It just depends on what you lose. You know, if you're in a tournament, you really want to win this title of like national champion, or like you want to win the belt at this tournament. Like in the moment, it might suck, but then you just get on with it. You learn from your mistakes and you just make the best out of it. But I guess as a pro, like that mark is like kind of like a stain on your career. Yeah. So it is definitely a lot more different, you know, because like you have a loss, everyone sees that like, oh, this guy has a loss. It kind of like lowers what people think of you as a fighter, I would say, you know. But I'm not even really saying that having a loss as a pro is bad, because like if you fought like a real good fighter, like fought for a championship and you lost it, you did good. I don't think it's like something to be too down about if you just kind of get back up and just like learn from it and like grow from it, you know?
Yeah.
But I think losing early in your career as a pro can be pretty detrimental. I think losses are just like setbacks. So, and like you said, boxing isn't, you don't have much time in boxing. So like a setback can really, just not be good.
But sometimes you have it so easy that winning, a loss comes like a blessing in disguise, where it grounds you and it helps you go back to the basics and okay, what am I missing?
Yeah,
right?
It's like it can open your eyes. So yeah, I mean, I've had losses that, like you said, blessing in disguise. So it's just making the best out of every situation that's thrown at you and trying to look at the good in it. Like you could be aware of the bad, which is like, obviously you don't want to like just disregard the bad, but like also look for the good in bad situations. And yeah.
What are your plans? What have you given any thought to the steps you have to take, to get where you want to go?
Well, my plan right now is like the next 2 years, stay as busy as possible and get myself in the rankings within like 2 years from now. And then from there, like really try to start making some noise and like going for titles and all that. But right now is just getting experience, going through that process of being a prospect and just like staying in the gym, working hard, getting better each day.
You started boxing later, and mostly they start at 8, 9, 10 years old. You started at 17. So how did boxing change your life?
It completely changed my life. It changed the type of person I am. I wasn't really too driven like before. I didn't really care much for anything before. Now I'm like not really just motivated to get better at boxing, but just like I want to grow as a person as much as I can. I'm like, because I believe like the things you do outside of the ring, not even like just from like training, but just like your habits outside the ring, building like knowledge and all that like that transitions into how you are inside the ring. So I'm like, since I've started, I've just been looking for ways to improve myself and just like get better as a person. And like I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot about like discipline and just like becoming a better person overall. Since I started boxing, I started living that lifestyle, and that lifestyle really did change me, and I've just learned to appreciate life on like a completely different level.
How important is your family's support throughout all this?
Oh, it means everything. Like, I really couldn't have got to where I got, like where I'm at right now, without my parents and how they support me. They just they let me train full time. I mean, I like coach boxing at the gym, but like pretty much I train full time, and they've been supportive of that since the start. So yeah, it really means a lot, because like my mom's always with me, all the tournaments. Like, she's never missed a fight. My dad comes to all the fights he can come to, so it feels good. And then my brothers too. I've seen how my boxing has impacted them and has like gotten them into working out and taking care of themselves. So
it gives you a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Where you have to devote to the sport, all the time.
Yeah.
And do you have problems with weight, or have you? Are you comfortable in your weight division?
I always make weight. I never don't make weight, but I mean making weight is never really like an easy thing. You got to give up the foods you like. You got to give up portions sometimes if it's getting closer to a fight. Yeah, like you'll be training a lot, and sometimes you feel like you're not getting enough food or as much food as you need, but as long as you're smart with it and getting the right nutrients, I always go in feeling good. Yeah. And I still make weight, but it's not like an easy process. It's something you definitely have to put thought into, and you have to stay focused and stay on track with your diet.
If muscles grow, they are heavier.
Yeah.
So keep the balance between fat and muscle.
Yeah.
And all that. Do you have a nutritionist do you get advice from a nutritionist, or?
I've done
I
have a strength and conditioning coach. He's giving me some advice, but I've done a lot of my own research, and I've learned a lot through trial and error with my body. These past 5 years as an amateur, I've done a lot of experimenting and kind of figured out what works for me, what I feel good doing.
What are some of the biggest challenges you've had in boxing?
There have been a lot of challenges, but I think the whole thing is a challenge, just getting better, facing certain opponents, you'll have a bad day in sparring or whatever, getting back up from that, getting back, working on things you need to work on, and just turning that around. So yeah, I've had problems overtraining and burning myself out, and I would put a lot of pressure on myself, and I would be doing hard stuff, but it wouldn't really be effective. So learning how to train smart, you have to train hard if you're gonna train smart, but learning the time and the place, getting having purpose behind every workout, that was a big eye-opener for me. But as a whole, boxing is just a challenging sport, especially if you want to be a world champion. The whole road is a challenge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And do you try to emulate the style of one of your heroes? Do you study other fighters?
I'll see fighters and I'll try to take things that I feel could work for me, but I just I try to fight my style, and I try to do what works for me, So and I see from my experience in sparring and in the ring, I see things that I could be doing better, and I try to work on those things to make certain situations in sparring easier for me. And it's a lot. I see what happens in sparring or in fights, and I just like practice that. Oh, if I do this, it could help. And then my coach is always on top of me, making sure like I throw the punches properly, like proper footwork and all that.
What's your favorite punch or your signature punch?
I like to work the jab a lot. That's probably my favorite punch because it can set up everything. I like the left hook to the body. I like overhand right, straight. I like all the punches, but my overhand right and like left hook, I have power with those. Body shot, I have power, but my favorite punch is probably the jab, because that's like what dictates the pace. That's like how you control your opponent and like use everything to set up your punches.
Who did you look up to in boxing, or who's one of your favorite fighters?
I always say Manny Pacquiao because when I first started boxing, he was kind of like a big name, and I didn't really know much about boxing when I first started, so I started watching a lot of him, and I liked I liked his speed. He threw a lot of combinations, and that's like, I'm kind of known for throwing a lot of punches, and I feel like that kind of manifested from watching him. And I realized like, at first I thought like, oh, I started late, I just gotta work hard and beat people with conditioning. And that worked, but it only got me like so far. But I ended up doing a book report, or not a book report, a PowerPoint presentation, an essay on Manny Pacquiao. So I watched a lot of YouTube videos on him coming up. I think he's got a real cool, humbling story.
Yeah.
He's a real cool person. Like, he's doing a lot of cool stuff right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's someone I look up to.
I know you've only had one pro fight, but in your amateur career, were you looking for the knockdown?
I was always just looking to like work my opponent as much as possible, and if the chance came, and like if I see I'm beating him up, I'll like step on the gas. But it's all just by like feeling and how the fight's going. Like if it's an even fight and I look and I'm like, I'm gonna try to knock him out, you try to knock him out and it doesn't work, and then you waste all this energy, and then he's kind of ahead on energy. So it just depends on like where the fight's going. But anytime I see like a slight chance or something, I'll jump on that, and like I won't be stupid about it, but I'll like try to take advantage of it as much as I can.
Is that frustrating when you're trying to get the knockdown and you can't?
Yeah, that like my first few sparring sessions, I was like, oh, I can hit him as hard as I want. I'm gonna try to knock him out, and I hit him like with like 5 or 6 punches as hard as I could, and I was like, he's nothing. He's still here, and I kept hitting him, and I was feeling tired, but like I didn't stop. But that was like kind of like, oh, you got to be a little more smart how you do it. Yeah. And sometimes like you got to set him up for like a hard punch, and then if you see that did something, then you could jump on him and hit him like with a combination and a flurry.
What's next for you?
I'm fighting on April 15th. So that's the next one. I'm fighting on the Marv Nation card at the Derby room, so the same spot. And yeah, that's it's my next fight, and just getting ready for that, and then after that we'll go from there.
4 rounds?
Yeah, 4 rounds.
4 rounds.
Yeah. Do you have the chance to know your opponent or study his style before the fight, or?
Yeah. So I mean, my first fight, the guy, they switched the opponent last minute, so it wasn't like I didn't really get to see much of him. But this guy, I know who I'm fighting, and I know like how he fights and all that.
I remember, right now you can find everything in YouTube.
Right.
Back in the 80s, 90s, I remember they used to go to the WBC office to ask for VHS tapes.
Really?
Because, they wanted to see fights of the opponent.
Yeah,
that was the only way to study.
No YouTube.
No YouTube, or of course.
Yeah, so they just give you a name and his record, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm fighting this guy. You don't even know what he looks like,
Yeah.
huh? Yeah, it definitely helps if you at least have like an idea
Yeah.
of what he looks like or what he likes to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where do you see yourself 10 years from now?
I see myself like one of the top fighters, world champion. Yeah, like just like one of like I guess the big name fighters. Yeah, like I see myself at the top in 10 years from now.
Holding, of course,
One of
both
these.
your belts,
Yeah.
the 3 and 1. Right? How much would that mean to you?
It would mean a lot just because like that's what I'm working for right now. I'm sure like after winning it, like not much would really change. Like I'm just like, okay, I won this now. It might feel a little weird because like, oh, I was like working and now I got this. So I don't really know, but I know like I'd definitely be happy because that's what I'm working for right now.
It'll
And I'd
change.
probably find like another thing to start going for,
That's
or
how it
like,
is.
yeah.
A lot of the damage happens, and a lot of people agree, but Pepe and I are so big on this, is sparring. It's not even the fights.
Yeah, and they're sparring like as little kids, your brains, I mean, my brain's not even fully developed, but as a little kid, like it's really not developed and you're taking like shots to the head. So yeah, that could make sense.
So do you think you have an advantage starting a little bit later?
I think so. Like the way I used to look at it as kind of a disadvantage and I needed to work harder and all that, but the way I see it now is like I really love doing what I'm doing. I'm really driven to, like, I'm always looking for ways to better myself as a boxer, and I really enjoy it. And I think that plays a big part. Like if you like doing what you're doing, if you enjoy training, you're gonna work harder. So
Yeah.
that's how I see it. Probably like the biggest challenge was maybe the first 6 months to a year, like really sacrificing all that. And I was a senior in high school at the time, and I went from like, you know, going out with my friends and all that, like I wasn't really the best student, to really just, I would wake up at 5 a.m. before school, I would run, shadow box, do all that, go to school, like do homework, and like straight to the gym. And that was like 5 days a week. So that's, it was a big change from doing nothing to doing all that, like, and yeah, that was probably the hardest part. And then just getting used to like that lifestyle boxing, like dieting, yeah, and then learning how to like train smart rather than like just train hard mindlessly, you know.
Right. Is boxing a lonely sport?
It can be, but at the same time, it could be, it just depends on like when, you know, like it could be pretty lonely, like during a hard fight because you're the only one in there fighting. But I have a team that I know really like is there for my best interest, and they're always, it's like a family. It's like another family. And then in the gym, just everyone in the gym, it's like a family. So it's like I have this whole another community with me, and like I feel like a lot of people are backing me and like just with me and like want to see me do good. So that like it feels really good.
Yeah, that gives a lot of strength
Yeah, and
confidence.
yeah. But so it just depends on the circumstances with it.
What's your take on women's boxing? And do you support it?
Yeah, I mean, I support it. I think I haven't thought much about it, but like it's definitely starting to make some noise. Like I think Serrano versus Katie Taylor.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. yeah, like there are a lot of good like women boxers coming on the scene, and I think it's gonna keep growing. I heard from someone, like he was a trainer. He said back then, like going to the amateur shows, it was like day and night seeing the girls box compared to the guys. But now at the shows, you can't really tell much of a difference if like these are girls fighting or if they're guys fighting, because like the girls now like have skills and everything.
And what's your take on the amateurs and the possibility of not being able to go to the Olympics? All these kids that have worked so hard for that.
It's like them not putting the Olympics in the. I don't like that at all. I like it. I watched the last Olympic boxing. That was my first time watching it, and it was like I enjoyed watching it. But like that's like pretty much the main amateur end goal, like winning an Olympic gold medal, and I just don't like it at all how they're taking it away, because at the end of the day, all Olympic sports are pretty corrupt, and I think there's a better solution rather than just completely just getting rid of it.
Do you think it'll change amateurs if it's eliminated?
I think it can. I don't think it'll make a big change to like the amateurs, because there will still be Team USA. There will be other like tournaments and like international tournaments and all that, but that's like taking away like a world championship from boxing, you know. But that's like for amateurs, that's like the biggest thing you can win as an amateur.
Like, what made you decide to go pro?
I just felt like I was ready and the time was right. I felt like I got my experience. The weight class I was fighting at as an amateur, there was no Olympic weight class, but also even if there was, the Olympics are like 2024. I don't want to wait till I'm 24 to turn pro. I'm 22 right now. I have a lot of amateur fights. I've won tournaments, and I feel like now was just the perfect time to do it. So we decided to do it.
So why should boxing fans become Joey Abudy fans?
One, I'm just entertaining to watch. I'm hardworking. I'm just like, I don't know. Just watch me if, I don't know. I'm just Joey, you know.
You're Joey, but you gotta market yourself.
Yeah.
Sell yourself right now.
But like I'm a really entertaining fighter. I don't fight the way I look. I'm like deceptive, you know. I look like some nice person, which I mean I am, but like in the ring I'm not. So it's as simple as that. Yeah. I'm fighting April 15th. For like the amateurs, just like keep working hard, stay in the gym, stay focused, and like when it's time to go to work at the Green Belt Challenge, like give everything you have there, and if you look good, you'll get one. So yeah.
You gotta look good. Where can people follow you?
Joey Abudy on Instagram, JOEY space ABUDY, and yeah.
No nickname?
No, I don't have a nickname.
Pepe's gotta baptize you with a nickname. You have one?
You don't have a boxing name yet.
No, I don't.
That's important.
We gotta get him one.
Yeah, that's important. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming by the office. We look forward to seeing you April 15th. I mean, if it's local, maybe we can go support.
Yeah.
And you know, like we always say, we'll always be in your corner, and we wish you the best of luck.
Yeah,
in
thank
this
you.
career.
Thanks. I really appreciate it.